A digital concentration camp. It's a slavery system.
When Catherine Austin Fitts talks, we should listen. She's a former high-level investment banker in New York and held senior office in the first Bush administration in Washington.
There may be 1,000 models of how it could work, but essentially you will have, whether it's a banking account or a credit card, and it can be turned off and on. So my incentive system is not you go to work and work hard and you get money. My incentive system can be based on how you behaved in the last 5 minutes, on a 24/7 basis.
CBDCs, as the name suggests, would be issued by central banks like the Federal Reserve in America and the Bank of England, not by high street banks. They would signal the end of cash, and every transaction you make would be transparent and held on a permanent database. Crucially, under a net zero regime, your carbon footprint could be at the heart of the system.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker.
This can be the infrastructure for a carbon credit system. It's totalitarian control, and if people don't become aware of it now, it's going to be too late to backtrack from this. It's a ratchet system where it's very difficult, if not impossible, to backtrack.
Hey, Shalom. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, salutation, and blessings to the elect who firmly believe in Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Like Apostle Tahar says, a Great Millstone was always right. This is what we know as the mark of the beast system. We know the microchip is the mark itself, Greek word charagma, and we're going to get into it. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So that's what the system is going to do. They're going to cause everybody, no matter what ethnic background you are, no matter what your financial status is, whether you're in prison or whether you're free on the streets, they're going to cause you to take this mark. Why? Because it's going to be the new system. If you want to be linked, to the system, they got to have you within their database. And the only way to be a part of that database is if you get marked up, if you get chipped up, And then reading on, it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, because that's going to be the new form of currency. That's going to be the new system. The banks, they are already getting acclimated, getting their system acclimated with digital currencies. The banks are now getting ready to being able to custody, your cryptocurrencies, if you will. They told you crypto was a scam. They told you crypto was not the way to go, when it was cheap. But now that it is expensive, now they're telling you it's okay to buy, it's okay to purchase, because they wanted to buy everything up and pretty much get their banks and everything acclimated, to now where it gets to the point to where, okay, now it's okay to buy. Look, we'll custody your crypto, so to speak. That's the system. That's the government for you. They tell you to do one thing and they're doing the opposite, and vice versa. It says, so it says, in that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. That's right. So if you don't have that mark, if you don't have that chip, they're going to deem you as a terrorist. Because like I said, with the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, in which the mark is going to be linked to, under the UBI, the Universal Basic Income System, it's complete totalitarian control. They want to be able to know what you eat. They want to be able to know where you're traveling, how you're traveling. It's going to be able to mark your steps, check your heart rate. They already gradually set you up by way of the Apple Watch. They gradually set you up that way. Everybody got that watch on, for checking their steps and checking their heart rate and the health and things of that nature. You know, they're going to dress it up as if it's a convenience, but ultimately it's for control. Ultimately, it's for control, man. It's mind control. It's MK Ultra. In order to control somebody, you gotta make it seem as if it's for their benefit, as if it's for their convenience. You gotta get the people to fall into your hand. But if you don't know the evils and the backlash you can receive from taking that mark, from taking that chip, if you don't know and understand the dramatic response you could get from taking it, then you're going to take it. That's why the Lord set up the prophets. That's why the Lord set up the men, to expose this truth. It says, here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 636. Now let's jump to Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the heavenly Father. This is the judgment for taking the microchip. This is the judgment. This is the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the heavenly Father, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone, and in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. So what? You're going to get nuked. You're going to get nuked, man. The thermonuclear missiles are going to lay you waste. And that's just the straight and narrow of the situation. Job chapter 5, verse 12. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. So ultimately, they're not going to be able to fulfill their reglobalization, in which they call their new world order. They're not going to be able to satisfy it. They're not going to be able to satisfy it. The Lord is going to interrupt them. And as you can see, this guy has put billions upon billions, maybe trillions of dollars into the system, from experiment, trial and error, marketing, things of that nature. So when you put all of that energy into something and then it doesn't go your way, that's when the feeling of disappointment arises. So the Heavenly Father is going to have them very and highly disappointed. And we can't wait to see it. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. That's right. So they're going to be taken in the devices that they have imagined, essentially. Hey man, this thing's about to get wicked out here, man. It's about to get real wicked out here. It's the book of Psalm, chapter 21, verse 11. For they intended evil against thee. They imagine a mischievous device which they are not able to perform. So we know we're going to see this system progress to a certain extent, but it's not going to go the way they think it's going to go. Once that micro C-HIP is mandated and pushed upon the people, that's when the Heavenly Father is making his move. Simple. Plain and simple. It says, therefore shall thou make them turn their back when thou shalt make ready thine arrows upon thy strings against the face of them. Be thou exalted, Yahweh, in thy own strength, so will we sing and praise thy power. So this devil's not going to be able to perform, what he thinks he's going to be able to perform. He's just not going to be able to. Job chapter 20, verse 15. He hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yahweh shall cast them out of his belly. That's right. The Lord is going to throw this devil out of power. Because essentially, these Edomites were only put into power, to chastise the Israelites. The Lord put his own punishment. The Lord put us in slavery. And he had to use the wicked to chastise us. For the wicked was created for the day of evil. So once that evil is fulfilled, there's no more use for you. There's no longer a use for you. It says, he shall suck the poison ass, the viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. Meaning what? You're not going to see the benefits of your new world order. That which he labored for shall he restore, and he shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. Because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. That's right. He oppressed the Israelites, more so the elect. So therefore, you're not going to be able to fulfill your hopes, dreams, and wishes. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. Therefore shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Straits is what? A position of difficulty. So when you think you're about to establish your new world order, while everything's in play, everything's in system, everybody's getting micro C-hipped, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. That's right. That's when the Lord's going to start making his move on you. You know, that's when all the powers of heaven shall be shaken at that point, because now they see that they're no longer in control. When he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. Meaning what? The missiles. It is drawn and is come out of the body, yet the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, in the heritage appointed unto him by Yahweh. So this is the end result of these Edomites, these elites, so-called white man. This is the end of him. This is how his story ends. So we have the hope for elect. We got nothing to fear. We got nothing to worry about, you know, in the sense of the end game. Of course, we're going to feel those emotions in the process, but we know and understand how this story ends. That's what's going to bring forth peace, you know, to the prophets, to the men of the Lord, to the elect. The fact that we know the end game. So we got the drop. You know, once you got the drop, you know how to maneuver. You know, so Lord willing, I was edifying. You know, I like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakodash. I like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, salutation, and blessings to the elect. Shalom.